Hey guys, it's Hagan K here, and today I'm going to do a challenge that was created by the RAD Pack, as they call it, I believe, the RAD 9 challenge. And being that 9 movies that made us and made us who we are, movies that we just grew up loving and resulted in us loving movies in general. So yeah, I'm going to get into my list and show you the 9 movies that made me growing up. Alright, starting off, gonna have The Lion King here with this clamshell VHS. Yeah, I love this movie growing up. Lion King, a Disney classic, and yeah, who hadn't seen The Lion King? A great story, great animation, and loved this growing up as a kid. So, first one being The Lion King. Another Disney classic, and yet another animation, this one being Toy Story. Couldn't go wrong with Toy Story. Love the first movie. Watched this a lot as a kid. I wore this VHS out. It nearly falling apart on us here, but yeah, great movie, great animation with Tom Hanks and Tim Allen playing the lead characters here, Woody and Buzz. And yeah, number 2 is going to be Toy Story. Number 3 is going to be Young Frankenstein, a Mel Brooks film starring Gene Wilder. And yeah, my dad showed me this movie as a kid, and I loved it. It's a great comedy, and it's, as I've gotten older, it's a lot funnier than what I understood it as a kid. But just a great bonding experience, a great movie to watch with my dad. And yeah, I love this movie growing up. And I have this DVD here. But yeah, number 3 is going to be Young Frankenstein. Up next, going to be a Jim Carrey movie. This one being Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. And yeah, I loved, this is a sequel, of course, to the original Ace Ventura. And yeah, loved this movie as a kid. Just always had it on, and just love how goofy and slapstick Jim Carrey was. Loved that type of humor growing up. And again, another movie that my dad and I watched, and yeah, just loved it. I, of course, I've already showed it off here, but I had this DVD and wore this thing out as a kid and loved it growing up. So with my number 4 pick, it's going to be Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. Up next, going to be another Disney animated movie. This time going to be a Pixar film, and that is The Incredibles. Loved this movie as a kid. A great movie growing up that I watched countlessly. Loved the action in this movie, the heroes, all the characters, the whole family. And I enjoyed the sequel as well that came out a few years back. But can't go wrong with a classic here. And had this DVD to show for. But yeah, The Incredibles is going to be my number 5 pick. Up next, this is going to be a movie that my mom showed me growing up, and love this movie. Going to be a Richard Donner film, and that is, of course, The Goonies, an 80s classic. Love this cast: Josh Brolin, Sean Astin, Corey Feldman. It is a great movie. Love The Goonies, a good adventure, a good kids movie. And I enjoyed this a lot growing up, and watched it as I was a kid, so I have a lot of appreciation for this movie, and it holds a dear place in my heart. So yeah, love this movie. Gonna give it a 10 out of 10. With my number 6 pick, it's gonna be The Goonies. Another Disney movie, all these movies being mostly Disney, but I mean, as we all know, Disney made some classics back in the day. But this one's gonna be a live action film, and this movie is going to be Sky High. A superhero movie ahead of its time. It's got the cast of Kelly Preston, Kurt Russell, and I love this movie. This is a great movie for a kid to watch, you know, growing up. This is something that any kid would enjoy. It's kind of corny, but it has a good feel to it, a good charm, and I just loved watching this as a kid. Another movie that I would pop in the player and would watch all the time, and I enjoyed this. It definitely one of my favorites, and one of the movies that made me growing up. So with my number 7 pick, gonna be Sky High. My number 8th pick is gonna be a Warner Brothers title here, and a baseball movie that I just loved as a kid. Growing up loving baseball, I watched anything relating to baseball. And this movie here, Little Big League, was a movie that I would watch all the time, especially when I go on vacation on the way down to the beach. Always popped this into the DVD player and enjoyed every bit of it. Could rewatch it over and over and over again. But yeah, Little Big League, as we know, it's about a kid who gets an opportunity to be the manager of the Minnesota Twins, and it shows kind of his journey going through his struggles as being a manager for a major league team. It's got some cool cameo appearances by Lou Piniella, Ken Griffey Jr., as well as Randy Johnson, and just enjoyed this movie as a kid. Great watch for anybody, a good family movie, and I love it. It holds up, and it's a movie, of course, that made me. And it's got this cool snapper case too. You know, the Warner Brothers DVDs that they did back in the day with the snapper case. I love that with the, of course, the classic poster artwork. And as you open it up, it's got the scene index along with the DVD. It's a little dusty. I haven't watched this in forever, but yeah, love the snapper cases. And yeah, number 8 pick is gonna be Little Big League. And finally, my last but not least pick for my 9 movies that made me growing up, it's going to be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. One of the first movies I watched as a kid with Harrison Ford starring, and fell in love automatically with this movie. I love the whole scene at the beginning in Club Obi-Wan. I love the chemistry between Short Round and Indy as well in this movie. I wish Short Round would have been a character later on in this franchise, and maybe even in the last movie that just came out, but overall, I'm still fond of him just being in this movie alone. A classic. Love this just as much as Raiders and Last Crusade. And yeah, I've got this nice Paramount 4K Steelbook that released not too long ago. Has, of course, the original poster art on the front there, as well as the back being the Stones from the movie. But yeah, just enjoyed this movie as a kid. A movie that, again, I would watch constantly over and over, and it holds up. A great adventure film. It had some very horror aspects to it, dark aspects for a kid, but I still enjoyed it. Again, a movie that I watched and loved growing up. That'll do it for my 9 movies that made me. I thank you again, RAD Pack, for this challenge that you could allow us to talk about and post, and yeah, wanted to show off my 9 movies that made me. I thank you again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate your time watching. Take care.
I'm alive. I'm alive.